And we'll even have it so maybe we'll give people more points if it's a lower point letter. So let's say if it's a Z, you get 10 points as it's a 10-point Scrabble tile. If it's an E, you only get 1 point. Yeah, I like this ZQ guessing. Maxing points.
Z and Q, Q and Z. So I guess the order of the blanks is also going to matter in this competition. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Some
Yeah.
good guesses. Remind me not to go to Vegas with this crowd. So y'all don't seem like the best kind of gamblers.
Yeah. And to be clear, even though these are Canadians playing, the exchange rate of the Z is still 10 points in Canada and the US.
I
All
believe it's the exchange rate of the Z, actually, Morris.
good point. Good point. Uh, so all tiles are the same number of points in Canada and the US, and whether you're Canadian or American playing.
Looks like
Or
Robin's
another.
hand is in the bag. I think we're about to get underway here with some action. Again, this is the Scrabble Players Championship from Baltimore, Maryland. 300 diehard Scrabble players competing for a good amount of prize money here, along with the team of amazing volunteers. Are you kidding me? Do we have a
Yeah, I know. I
queue
was
on the
gonna
first turn
say.
again? Somebody shake these tiles. Oh my goodness. That queue, maybe it weighs less than the rest of the tiles, has less density or something, and always floats its way up to the top. This is unbelievable.
Maybe it's
No.
magnetic.
Is she going to play Wiener over exchanging here?
Uh, maybe. I
I
mean,
think our camera might be frozen because those tiles disappeared, but we're just looking at a board. The tile bag is still sitting right by the board. We might be
yeah,
having some technical difficulties. Could somebody check on that camera, please?
yeah. There's something odd going on here. I don't see any files.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
camera above the board is not working. If we can get tech support to take a look at that, maybe it needs to be refreshed. Someone's got to push a button. There we go.
cool.
So not only does she open with Wiener, she opens with it in a spot that scores much less than she needed to.
Yeah, you're saying instead of doubling the W, she doubled nothing.
Okay, am I like having a stroke right now or something? Like, first off, the camera doesn't work, and then when we come back, Robin's played Wiener, but like in the wrong spot. What is happening? I think Robin just missed and then started chuckling afterwards. Very interesting. Wow, that was also a strange strategic decision. Even if you play Wiener in the correct spot, holding onto a Q I just don't think is the right thing to do on this turn. I think that should have been an exchange 3 throwback QEW, which is also quite Canadian. The Queen Elizabeth way is a big highway. But
Yeah.
wow, interesting start to this game. At least she hit the star.
Yeah, I mean it's. I sometimes like to make what seems like a bad move on the first play, just to like see how my opponent responds. I mean, maybe it's more when I'm in a silly mood and not playing for $10,000 or whatever. But it's sometimes fun to just have a bad opening, and just see what happens. I know this is a common thing in chess. I know Hikaru Nakamura is a big streamer, and he likes to do an opening where he moves the king up one spot and down one spot just for fun in some games. And so I feel like there's definitely opportunity for that in Scrabble too, for maximum funness. Maybe not for maximum strategy, but for maximum fun.
How interesting. What a start to a game. Michael's definitely hit a lucky break there, both with the play of Wiener, which I just don't think is a standard play many people would make, and the mislocation of it. Scrabble's a game of hand-eye coordination, apparently.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to update the score. I think there might be an issue. We'll get that up shortly. Apologies for that. As Robin looks like she's going to be playing through the eye and making a nice play of Virago. Seems like the right idea here. I mean, you don't love blocking the eye when you need to get rid of the Q now, but it seems like Robin's more than okay keeping the Q based on the last few turns.
Very interesting start. You see, Robin is still bogged down by this Q. Holding QO is just never something you want to have to do. But Robin needs to, and she's not scoring well in the process. It's really tough. But now she's finally picked up that U she needs, and I think she's going to be able to score some mega points with it next turn.
Yeah. I mean, getting the Q and the U together is a whole different ball game than the Q separately from the U. Great. The scores have been updated as well, so it is 38-8. Uh, yeah, and Michael, I mean, it is there are some letters that pair with his rack for an 8, but if you don't have those letters on the board, it doesn't really allow you to score a lot on this board.
I'd be surprised if we see anything other than POI on top of Virago making PO.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the very pretty Protei for the R and the E, the R in Virgo and the E in Wiener. That would be beautiful if he sees that. But yeah, I think either of those two seem reasonable.
I don't think that's going to happen. That is a really nice play, though. Wow, the disconnected Protei with 4 overlaps to play off these same letters. Neat. Robin is sitting on Lex, which is going to score a bunch and help her retain the QU combo to score again next turn. So I don't see Michael blocking that, even if he plays Protei that gives back Locks and Axe. So Robin's going to score some big points next turn. And I just want to point out that all of this is only possible because of Robin's advanced next level placement of Wiener.
Yes, right. If everything was shifted over one slot, it wouldn't have this crazy S lane, excuse me, and X lane for that matter. But yeah, so this is why maximum funness is what we should be optimizing in Scrabble games at the beginning of the game. Just see what happens if you make a play that's 8 fewer points. You could get a huge X play.
Maybe Robin couldn't see the board either. Our camera was frozen, so maybe it was frozen for her too, and that's why she misplaced that word.
Yeah, so she plays Lex over Quixote. Both would have been cool plays, but I think Lex is a bit better here. It scores 3 more, and OQRTU is really strong as a lead.
As intense as a desire to play Quixote is, you just can't do it here. Again, sometimes the fun word is not the good word.
Yeah, and Michael had Eternity or Entirety set up off of the E in Wiener, it looks like. So that will likely be coming down. I think, though, I would probably play Eternity through the E as the second E, rather than where he's playing Entirety going down to the triple.
Absolutely. I would not expose that triple word square unless I need to. I'd play Eternity, as you said. It scores the same anyway, but Michael electing to be a little bit more open with this play, playing all the way down. And initially, I'm not seeing any big Y play that Robin's going to be able to make with that Q.
Yeah, you'd love to see Torquay come down, but I think that needs an E.
or Yankee, Yanqui, I think is valid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's also really close. So we'll see how she responds. I mean, Cot keeping the U, which you don't normally like to do when you have the Q and the U, is 50 points. So Cot's parallel. But she's playing Torquay? Oh my god.
What did we say about phonies coming up in this game? Let's see. Oh, she's got the bag. She's reaching in. And tiles are...
We'll see.
She's not being held. Well, I would have grabbed one tile and pulled it out of the bag already. She's staring right at Michael, too. So that play is going to stay. Torquay for 81 points. Yeah, we talked about this. I asked if Robin knew the book. Michael, again, very conservative with his challenges, especially as I think he's so fixated on his rack and his draw of ISO Bear. Wow, gutsy play by Robin, and that's going to help her out a lot in terms of winning this game, as Michael's going to hit back with a big high-scoring ISO Bear, but Robin is going to be equal with him after this play.
Yeah, and she'll have good letters, and I'm guessing some bingo options. Yeah, she's left line with bingos next turn. Like Picaroos, I think should be valid through the R in entirety. So, yeah, wow, what a play by Robin. I mean,
and she pulls into Umiax on top of that. Wow, Robin has come onto stream, and the stereotype on these younger players is they know a lot of words and they study all the time, right? Robin drops a phony in consecutive games, and it works out beautifully for her. Amazing gutsy play, and wow. I hope we get to see more of her on stream. This is fun to watch.
Yeah, and I apologize, Chad. I said something that wasn't a word, so ignore that. Umiaks is an option. Caribous would be an option through the R.
Wow. Michael has pulled the second blank. So they're both sitting on a blank right now. We did get a guess in chat before the game that the blanks are going to be M and M. So I'd love to see that Umiaks come down.
Yeah, this will be interesting. So I guess she has Caribous or Gracioso, actually. Nice finds um, through the R in entirety if she doesn't see Umiaks. But Umiaks is the play if she does see it. Oiling also, I mean, it's something that I would remember at the beginning of the game. Yeah, it takes a ton of front hooks, and I might just forget about it at some point as the rest of the board starts to develop. But this board is really wide open with that oiling hook being so good with so many letters and so many other bingo lanes. This feels like it's going to continue being a bingo heavy game.
If I'm Robin right now, I reach over to that blank slip and I just turn it ever so slightly so it is aligned with the board, and then I continue thinking about this.
Just so you're saying, so we can see what it is.
No, just hey, Michael, I'm about to play a bingo on you. I'm gonna touch this slip. I'm gonna get in your head, and then I'm gonna spend 2 more minutes while you think about that. I don't think that's allowed. I wouldn't actually do that, but we've already seen Robin flex once by playing declar and then not pluralizing it and saying right after the game, "Yeah, I don't think it's a word." So we'll see what kind of flex she's able to do here as well. She's set up Caribous now. She's found that one. Wondering if we're going to see that, or Umiaks with Soiling, or Umiaks over next to ISO Bear. On a board this open, you have tons of possibilities when you got blank Rex like this.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess if she doesn't see, yeah, so she has Caribous aligned right now, so still perfectly good play. I mean, a few fewer points, but still a great move and better than any non-bingo, I think, here.
I think, yeah. She's going to bingo. Chat seems worried about this. She's absolutely going to bingo. She's one of the best players on the planet. It's just a matter of which one is she going to find, and will she elect to play the highest scoring one? And it looks like in this case, no. Oh, yes, she found Gracioso. Very
Gracioso.
nice. Good job,
Very nice.
Robin. Now she's flexing off that study. Again, Robin, from what I see in chat, is very involved on Aerolith, which is a program where players can unscramble words, and Robin's on there every day doing the words. So that shows off here for sure. She finds the most optimal bingo out of this rack and is going to pull ahead of Michael Fagan.
Yeah, though Michael does have the Z, and I think that's going to score nicely above the A in Wiener with Zit if he sees it.
Oh, yeah, ZIT right there. Again, that curious placement of Wiener is causing all kinds of chaos in this game.
Yeah. So RETE is a word that you might not know if you're a typical kitchen Scrabble player, but experts at this level probably know what's up.
It looks like Michael has set up Zebu on his rack. That plays next to ISO Bear. It helps him get rid of the U and a B that's kind of clunky. But missing Zit here would be a big miss for Michael. It's 49 points.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Robin is close to bingos as well again, and so with the right tiles, she could definitely come back if Michael gets a big Z play and then a bingo. So right now, I don't see an L available for finalist or tailfins.
There's also faint-ish with an H, but that's not here either, although Robin has set that up. I do wonder if we see another Robin phony here. Maybe consider just playing faint-ist or something, anti-fist, down to that T, Anti-sift.
Yeah, I think she might not risk that. That seems almost too much. Although Torquay looks so weird like that maybe that does give her extra confidence. So Zebu does come down, and Robin's up by 37 points now, with pretty good letters. Obviously, Michael will have the CT Blink combo, gives him a lot of bingoing potential. But Robin, in her own right, if she plays off the I and the F, will be close to bingos often too.
It is interesting. I wonder if IF and foiling is going to come down, but if that oiling hook goes away and doesn't open up something else, this board went from very open to very closed very fast.
Yeah, Gracioso. This is often a concept called board exhaustion, which is just if you make a lot of long plays and they kind of all interfere with each other, the board just kind of becomes exhausted because it's all spread out. It's not like you can open a completely new quadrant. It just everything. It's kind of like man spreading or something at some point. It's tile spreading.
Yeah, Robin has an option to open this board up a lot. She can play Finito down to the O, scores a ton of points, but does break up what is a pretty bingo-prone rack. So it'll be interesting to see here if she decides to play short and drop the IF somewhere to keep that nice stain leave, or if she decides to play longer and score a bunch of points, but expose that triple word and a ton of bingo lines. Zebu, after from Michael's play, doesn't really imply anything to her, so she doesn't realize how dangerous his rack is right now. But Michael's sitting on just a wealth of good tiles and tons of bingos out of that rack. So as long as a spot stays available, he's going to be able to score a lot, and Finito would increase the amount he's able to get next turn.
Well, she has anti-fist set up now.
Oh my God, do it, Robin. Do it. He's not going to challenge.
Are you sure? This seems. She's taken so long. I think
She
she's gonna
backed out.
play it. Yeah. So if and foiling is a really nice idea also because if your opponent plays a bingo ending making a two-letter word as well, ending with the I, that will now go to the triple instead of one lane before the triple. So in the worst case scenarios, you'll always have counterplay, which when you're up by 50 points, that's a great idea.
Should she just draw Antifas and then set it up on her rack? All right, Robin.
Yeah.
Is that good now? They added Antifa? Oh my goodness. Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, I don't know these new words. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I thought Antifa was already good for a bit, but
I mean, 2018, I haven't studied since probably 2014, so I don't know any of that new stuff. But Robin does. She set it up right away. And of course, Robin knows bingos. She's well studied at this point.
yeah, and look like she has fanatics also. Is she trying to hit or something with how she has her rack arranged? Well, anyways, though, Michael definitely has bingos here. At least sevens. I'm not sure they're all playable, but I think he'll probably bingo this turn if I had to guess.
I'm not seeing any sevens that fit. Chat points out
Yeah, yeah.
Jacinto plays
Oh wow,
down to
yeah.
the O, but like it's really hard to find a bingo down to the O. Down to that R, there is nothing that I'm seeing at least.
Yeah, I just looked on Quackle. Duacento is the only bingo, so I
Jacinto
spoke
is
too
the
soon.
only bingo, and Michael's got to find it with a blank down to an O. So this would be crazy if Michael fishes here. If he misses on his bingo, Robin does play Antifas, and then Michael triples back on her. That could be what happens. So Michael, he doesn't know this obviously, but maybe the best thing for him to do is whiff on his bingo.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. I feel like the the lesser play sometimes in this game happen to be the better play given what your opponent has. I mean, that's just sometimes how Scrabble works. You can't like Nigel. If your gold standard is what would Nigel Richards do, who's considered the top player in Scrabble, he would play Jacinto. He would not play Wiener where Robin played it, but you know, it wouldn't work out for him in these scenarios. And you just have to play the odds though. Those two scenarios it doesn't work out, but it could be five other scenarios it would work out better.
Michael's found it. He's got it set up on his rack now, so he's probably going to spend some additional time looking for other bingos. But it does look like Michael's found Jacinto. And yeah, I would take my time here too. You don't want to make that play because it gives back so much. But we have the knowledge of that being the only bingo. So Michael's going to try to find something better. We all know that he's not going to be able to. And eventually, though, I think he will come down with Jacinto, and Robin will be able to hit back Antifas.
Yeah, and he'll give her a second spot for Antifa's. I'm not sure which I would choose. I might choose. So Duecento would allow for DA and us as he's laying it down now. So on the first two letters, she could put the A and the S in Antifa's directly parallel to it. Uh, I might go for that just because before a D, all of A, E, I, or O can go directly before it as two-letter words. Whereas if you have DA instead, uh, that will only allow for an O directly in front of it. So it's a bit more defensive of a play if she goes for Antifas in the new spot.
Yeah, Robin's got to decide where to play this word. Either one has their merit, but I would definitely play the vertical placement next to Duecento just to kind of obstruct that big vertical line in the furthest left column.
Yeah, and it actually is 10 more points. I didn't realize that it does double the F as opposed to
Oh, it
tripling an
does.
A. So,
Yeah, you've got
so
to
I think
make
that
that
has to be
play.
the play. Yeah, yeah. And the X and the Q have been played. So even though it does open an I next to a triple letter score, it's not nearly as dangerous as it would be if like the X were in play.
Yeah, blank guessers, we ended up with a G and an N, so congratulations to none of you for winning that contest. Good job. Thanks for playing. Morris, I'm sure,
Yeah,
will give us more options to try to pick blanks correctly in future games.
yeah. Or good night if it's GN, we'll say, instead of
There we
good
go.
job.
I'm not sure what Robin is thinking about here. Antifa's next to Duecento seems very, very standard, especially when you realize you double that F. No reason really to do the placement that opens a triple triple, even if it is partially obstructed. Just grab your points, keep going.
Yeah, I think she might be wondering if she should just play Fa here. I mean, she's only down 20 points and keeping Stain. Is she thinking to close down the triple lane first and then because that will give her a slight lead, and then she'll have multiple lanes for Bingo's keeping Stain, which is a very strong leave.
She doesn't have the case S. Oh, maybe she backed out of Antifa's. I don't think that was a deliberate pass. She must have backed out. Maybe she thinks it was offensive and taken out. Maybe she doesn't know that it was new. I can't imagine that was anything strategic or deliberate. I think that was just I'm unsure of my word knowledge, and especially with a huge juicy spot like Michael's just opened up, you can't play that unless you're sure, because otherwise Michael's scoring 45 back and you're losing this game.
Yeah, well,
Interesting.
she did pick up an E, which pairs very nicely with the letter she did keep. Uh, I guess satiated doesn't play unless you think you can get away with SQ and AU
I
against
don't
Michael.
think those phonies are going to stay on this board.
Yeah, but yeah, it will be interesting. She is in good shape though to bingo though in the future, and she has a slight lead now on a board that basically the top left part. It's going to be hard to close that right away from Michael's perspective. So she'll have at least one go to try to get a bingo down in a future turn.
Diastase. Someone's saying that fits. I don't see it.
Oh, diastase?
No, you'd have to make Wienerd.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cal comes down for Michael, and Robin is actually in a little bit of trouble now because she's got this bingo E rack that doesn't actually bingo. She's going to be forced to fish, and she's done a great job of creating bingo lines. She's got the third column and the second row that she can bingo in, but she's going to have to actually draw one to get there. So is she going to do a small little fish now, just dump an A, dump AI, something like that? Or does she try to score a little bit more?
Yeah, well, if we can look at the unseen pool, this actually can inform decision making, even though it's often more natural to keep a leaf like dates over AEIST. She might play add above poise, making APO and do for 17 points. That scores a bit more than some of the other fishes, and AEIST pairs nicely if the bag is a bit constant heavy. And
Let's
the
get the
bag.
unseen pool displayed if we can do that from our tech support at home. Oh man, and I just noticed the Morse code is back behind Michael Fagan's head. That light was flickering yesterday, it got fixed, and now it's back. Maybe it's an indicator of something.
Yeah, so I think ad looks okay here. There are a lot of there are a lot of consonants, especially like there are three N's, two L's. Those things pair really nicely with AEIST as a leave. I wouldn't be shocked if she does something like ad here.
This was interesting. I thought Robin was going to start to run away with this game but that Antifa's miss was crucial in this game, and now I feel like she's the underdog.
I don't know about that. I mean, she has Dita's set up, and that's going to go with Zebu's and make three two-letter words as well. So really nice find by her. That's 37 points, so that will give her a slight lead again.
Pulling into a pool with a lot of consonants too, I think that AE is going to end up balancing out okay for her. But still, you'd rather just have a bingo and be done with this game.
For sure, for sure.
And now, without drawing a bingo, this is going to be neck and neck.
Yeah, and
If only she had 8 additional points from the first turn.
Well, that's actually really key because the bingo lane off of ad from Fan and Duacento is only a bingo lane because Wiener is a spot over from where it normally is.
This is the ripple effect. It just keeps on giving and giving. That strange accidental placement of Wiener.
Yeah. And one thing to monitor here, so Michael missed Zit earlier with making Za and RETE. He could do the same with Kit this turn. It might be likelier he sees that because KA and KI could be a play he's drawn to here naturally as is. And then he might notice, oh, that C can actually fit as well there.
But Robin crucially drew a D, which is going to help her hit that third column if she wants to make a play down there. But there is also one S unseen to both players, and that's going to be a huge tile in this game as well, just to allow you to access a quadrant to the board that's going to be hard to get to otherwise.
Yeah, this is interesting. I mean, we'll see what Michael plays and how Robin infers his rack from there. If he plays something like KI or Kit through the eye in foiling, then Robin might think he's close to a bingo and might just play Mand or something to block all the bingo lanes. It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, if Michael's unable to score well here, Mand is a good play to kind of put this game out of reach. But if Michael does score a good amount of points with something like Kit, then it's still neck and neck. And Robin, I don't know that she wants to be playing defense in a tie game. There's no reason to.
Well, Mand is, I think, going to be close to her highest scoring play. I guess she could play something like Nam above Poise, making Apo and Mo. But
29.
yeah, he's. Oh wait, he.
Interesting. Michael's going to regret getting rid of a vowel, I think, because there's not too many left for him to pull. Kit, I think, was much better there for him than KAE. If he pulls 2 vowels here, he's in good shape, but otherwise, he's going to regret this. Oh, yeah, he got the S though.
He got the S, but wow, if he played Kit instead, I think he would have been in much better shape. The S is important here, but I guess it depends what Robin does.
Both players have a good amount of their time left. I think these next 2 turns are going to be, well, okay, I'll eat my words right now. I was thinking these next few turns would be very slow. And instead, Robin electing to right away drop down Nam, hold that ADEN dynamic leave, and we'll see where it takes her.
Yeah, so Robin is now up just 13 points with only 10 in the bag. It will be a neck-and-neck game here towards the end. She could get some bingos with what's her last letter. So unhailed, I think, is good with an I in there, but unfortunately unhailed, spelled as she has on her rack, will not be a word. So she could...
Oh, Michael has versify. Oh, that is huge. Through the IF.
Wow, what a find.
That's going to block all bingo options that Robin could have and score so much that I think that might put a knife in this one. Versify is very good. Wow.
Only if he sees it, though. Only if he sees it. It's not a natural looking play if you're not thinking about like if you're thinking about the why could make if I words, then you'll see versify right away. If you don't think about it, even you're not going to notice it.
Interesting. Yeah, Robin does have the ability to extend foiling to unfoiling, and while I think that's a word that comes off in most games, I think this is a situation, a tight game against this opponent where it might stay on. So she's shown us she's willing to play phonies that she doesn't think are good before. She played Torquay this game. I wonder if she tries that if she needs to, but a play like Versify is going to put her in weak position where she might have to take a shot like that.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, versify will lock up the game. But again, it's very hard to see that. He could even like if he does see it, he could even doubt versify and play verify exit like that will still block up mostly everything. Will score a lot fewer, but he might. I could even see that happening. It wouldn't lock up the game at all because it would still make a neck and neck scoring match, but it would block the bingo lanes.
Yeah, if I'm Michael, looking at this unseen pool, it is not incredibly conducive to bingos, but Robin's last few plays of Fan and Nam are very interesting, though Ditta's kind of looks like I did just go blow it all up. So
Yeah.
it's really curious to see what kind of inference Michael has on what Robin could have retained. But yeah, Michael's probably not very concerned with the bingo, just given what he sees in that pool. AADDEEGHHIJLMNNPU unseen to him. So very interesting for Michael. One concern I have if I am him is of the 17 unseen, only 6 are vowels. 11 are going to be consonants. And because of that, I might end up in bad shape. Michael's going to go ahead and play Verify, holding 3 consonants. And I think unless he's able to reach in and pull 2 vowels, he's not going to be in good shape. Versify, adding that S in there, would have extended to the double word and scored much better.
So he will be up by 6 points now, and yeah, I mean the unfoiling thing is interesting, but
Robin
I don't
doesn't need
know.
to now. She's only down 5 in a game with 6 in the bag. She can just duke out this end game if she feels like she needs to. And that unseen pool is looking pretty drecky now to her with a bunch of consonants and very limited vowels. To Robin, there are only 3 unseen vowels in the entire game: 1A, 1E, and 1I. And this is why it was so crucial that Michael was aware of that and tried to leave himself with some vowels. He was able to draw 1, but that's it. If I'm Robin, I'm in the driver's seat now, absolutely. I'm trying to keep my vowels and score points. I think I can win this end game without having to do anything too clever. And I get to leave 3 in the bag if I make a 3-tile play. Leaving 3 in the bag is a great idea to do in a game that is going to come down to an end game, because more likely than not, you're going to go out before your opponent, and getting the last turn in a close game is huge.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I mean, given that there are so few vowels, the natural play it looks like from equity would be haut, off of the T in Torquay, or hot, and that would create 3 2-letter words as well. But I think you have to keep 2 vowels here, unless I guess so. Maybe da off of above Dita's making Udo and his could be an option.
I want to retain as many vowels as I can, but you do have to score at the same time. So duh does seem like a good option. You could play it above dittas. You could play it below and try to bait your opponent into playing 1 more of their vowels. But yeah, I think Robin definitely needs to retain 2 vowels here in order to make sure she doesn't get bogged down with a bunch of consonants. And it looks like she has exactly that idea. Really smart play by Robin, trying to keep
Really
some
nice.
flexibility, leave 3 in the bag. This is her game to lose at this point. It's at least in her mind.
Well, yeah, it all depends on the pick here. If she
Yeah.
picks good enough stuff, then
She wants to see vowel come out of the bag, even though it leaves her unbalanced. It means Michael has nothing. There's an A,
there's one.
there's a G. Is there one more vowel? No. Okay, so
Okay, that's pretty good for her.
Michael's gonna have some shots.
Yeah, there's one I left in the bag, still of the last 3 tiles. So yeah, I guess for Jay's scoring spots, I mean, Robin's up by only 15. The J is a big enough point letter that if you can only play off 2 letters, like Jet might be the play here through the E into Acento, keeping Melds. That will
Yeah.
get him basically a tie game. He could draw at least 1 vowel, and it won't empty the bag.
The J is going to be real clunky for him. He does have that case S to hook gracioso. I wonder if he knows that word takes an S because it looks like it could easily be an adjective. But that's going to be a way for him to score a lot. I would not empty the bag in this case if I were Michael. I think a 2-tile play like Jet is a great idea. Make Robin do a little bit of guesswork with what she's going to pull as that last tile in the bag. So it'll be very interesting. Pre-end game situations like this are very tough. Michael only has 5 minutes left, but it looks like Michael is wisely going to leave 2 in the bag. Or sorry, 1 in the bag. He's going to play 2 tiles to leave 1 in the bag. If he's able to pull that last vowel, he's in good shape. And if not, uh-oh.
Yeah, I would have waited longer there. I would have looked to see if I could have set up my S above verify in some ways with 2 tiles.
That turn was the game, and I don't know that Michael spent enough time. I also would not want to hold on to that J going into this end game. It just doesn't have a lot of options.
So now it's Robin's turn, and often so we talked about how from Michael's perspective, he didn't want to empty the bag so that he'd have tempo in the end game, or basically he'd get first mover advantage because the end of a Scrabble game ends when one player finishes their letter. So if both players have 7 letters, the one who goes first will often be the one to finish the game.
We need to get the unseen pool displayed to our team in the room. Yeah, EHIJLNST. And so Robin has to be afraid of drawing the J. That would be more or less a death sentence to her. She has some good options. Pavan, P-A-V-A-N, or P-A-V-A-N-E through the V would be an interesting play for her to make. Try to play as long as she can. But, you know, if she picks up a J or another clunky consonant, that's not good. So I think P-A-V-A-N is what she's looking at right now through that V. She's trying to figure out what kind of plays it's going to give Michael back. She is wisely saving that E, but she's got to go through tile by tile and figure out, hey, what am I going to be left with? If I pull the H into ELG, what am I going to have? I'm probably going to lose. If I pick up the E, I'll have Glee and Pavan. I'm probably going to win, right? So she's going to have to go through with all of the plays she's looking at and figure out what percentage of the time she wins. It's going to be something out of 8 times. And look at the 8 different letters in the pool. She might be able to get a little bit of inference based on what Michael just played. Because he played DAM, is she able to read that he does or doesn't have certain tiles? These are incredibly tough situations in a close game, and I'm very curious to see what Robin's going to do here.
I like Gavel a lot. It does give the options of both Jape and Japan, because it would keep PAN, and Gavel right through the A in Gavel would make Japan, through the E in Gavel would make Jape. So I think Gavel might look a bit better than Pavan here. At least my first glance intuition would say that. But yeah, that's just my first instinct.
Gavel does give back lightens if the J is in the bag, so it doesn't matter. Even if you have those options, you're going to get bingoed on. Thank you for Noah for pointing that out in the chat. Robin definitely, I think, has the advantage here, but this is terrifying to her. We know that an I is in the bag. If Michael has that I, though, to Robin, she's dead in the water at this point. So I think what Robin's doing now is a lot of math, trying to figure out, hey, if a vowel's in the bag, this game's mine, almost independent of what I do. But which of these consonants can I pick up and still win?
Yeah, and so in general, we talked about how Michael's strategy 1 turn ago was to not empty the bag. Robin's strategy now, since she is guaranteed to empty the bag, is to play off enough tiles so that Michael's first mover advantage to the endgame can be minimized. So either that means playing off enough tiles to go out in 1 turn, so Michael can't go out in 2 turns, or it is getting enough points now and getting rid of my worst letters such that Michael's first mover advantage and getting an extra turn won't really be enough to come to fruition.
Yeah, This, I think, Michael's situation now really highlights how big a mistake I think both missing Versify was, and then I think he needed to play the J last turn, because now the J is just not offering him as much flexibility as he needs. Maybe he was thinking about trying to pull Jivist through the V and Verify. I'm not totally sure, but that J just doesn't help him on this board. It's an obstruction more than it is help, though it does put this crazy monkey wrench in everything Robin is thinking about.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to also see, is there any way for Robin to set up any letter above Versify or Verify? Excuse me. Um, it's going to be tough considering that E, L, and N are also in the unseen pool, so you can't set up one of those letters because your opponent is likely to have those too. But if there's a way to set up an A or a P or a G, uh, is she doing that now with
I think
POW?
she's trying to block Jivist because that play loses for her almost no matter what. The only other way she could beat it is to retain the letters to spell Ganja, and even then, I don't think Ganja is going to be enough for Robin to outrun. So I think she plays Pal to try to block Jivist without giving much back, and she has to be ecstatic to pull that I out of the bag at this point. This all goes back to the critical KAE play from Michael. Remember, we talked about playing KIT and RETE instead to retain a vowel into a bag that had very few vowels left. And because Michael played off a vowel when he shouldn't have, I think he's going to lose this game. Big moment. Versify was another tough miss on a really hard to spot word. But man, Michael had his opportunities, and I don't think he's going to be able to squeak this one out.
Yeah, so I guess what's his move here? He could play. So I guess Ashen and Graciosos is a nice idea.
Yeah, he's got that, but can Robin go out is the real thing. And Robin does have lineage down at the bottom, so he'll have to block that. Ashen seems to do that. Does it give anything back? It gives back inage, but that doesn't quite fit. So Ashen, what would that do? It would hold JLT. It would block
So he'd have
Robin's
two spots
out.
for Jet. He'd have two spots for Jet then after Ashen, right?
But is
Because
it
he would
is it going
create
to
a new
be
spot.
enough?
It won't be enough, I don't think, but I think that's his best plan of action.
You at least have to block the out. And then, where the game goes from there. It's just Michael's going to have to go out in 3 with this clunky rack because he has no flexibility. He could find out in 2s, sure, but he's not going to find an out in 2 that also
Actually,
blocks lineage, I don't think.
the chat
Udons?
points out. The chat points out. Ashen creates leading.
Oh, wow, leaning. Okay. Yeah, so Michael's going to have to find other ways then. I mean, you can block lineage if you need to. There's things like udons, or I don't know. You can play down from the TO. Maybe there's another play from the A that doesn't give back leaning. But you have to try to set up a way where you can go out the next turn. And with 6 consonants, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it looks good. Well, actually, so Ashen. So I'll upload it to Quackle now. Let's see. Let's say Robin misses leaning. Uh, there are still a few. Granted, they're not necessarily easy to find, but there are ways she can win without seeing leaning if Michael plays Ashen. So uh, she could play. Yeah. So it's definitely. It's a decent option because Robin needs to then find the win if Michael plays Ashen.
I mean,
But
she'll play leaning, and even if she doesn't, I don't think Ashen does it.
there's only 2 plays Quackle finds that, aside from leaning, that win in a 2-turn out sequence. So it's not. One of them is a really cool idea of after Ashen, you can plop the A down right next to the end to make NA instead of GIEN, and that I think is unblockable uh, or gives, I guess, a second spot. Let me see, because it can be. You can then play Jet. Oh, but no, it gives back JETE. So, anyways, that's a deep sequence thing. I wish we could show on the board what I'm trying to show, because I feel like it's
That's
easier to see visually. But
This is why Michael needed to play the J last turn. He needed to have additional flexibility on this turn to be able to block whatever he needed to block, and he can't do that with the J on his rack. Last turn needed to be Jet, KAE needed to be Kit, Verify needed to be Versify. It was a string of mistakes, and he's going to narrowly lose this game because of them, unless Robin, for whatever reason, misses lineage. That'd be absolutely inexplicable. I think Michael missed it. You see him shake his head there. So Michael wouldn't have held the J unless maybe he thought Robin missing it was the only way to win, but I think he just missed it himself. There's no way that Michael's able to win this game without pulling that vowel. But Robin definitely gets away with that miss on Antifa's was massive. But clever plays, sneaking the phony Torquay by at the bottom. And whatever placement of Wiener she ended up doing must have ended up working out for her. Our final score in this game is going to be 424 to 403 in Robin's favor. And Michael, I think, is finally going to be unseated off of table 1. I believe Joey Krafchick won his most recent game and is now 9-2 with a higher spread. This is going to conclude. Oh, go ahead, Morris.
I was going to say, but we will be streaming Collins in the afternoon.
Yes. Yeah. So this yep. This concludes our morning segment of NWL games. This afternoon, we're bringing on a third commentator, Sean Abbasi, who's a bona fide good player in Collins, and he'll be commentating with us as we bring some Collins action at the end of day 2. This is the Scrabble Players Championship from Baltimore, Maryland. 300 diehard Scrabble players playing for a significant amount of prize money, sponsored by Scrabble Go and NASPA Games. And thank you so much for hanging with us. We'll be back this afternoon for more games. Signing off,
3 p.m.
3 p.m. Eastern Time. 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Signing off, I'm Matt Kanek, joined with Morris Greenberg, and we hope to catch you again in a few hours.
See you soon.